The Mormon Church is slowly but surely starting to become more progressive on the issue of homosexuality. They recently launched a campaign that put 5 openly gay Mormons front and center. And let me play you a little clip of one of them here, and then I want to discuss.
So after dating for some time, we eventually got married. And I was pretty excited about being married and experienced the whole married thing. I actually thought that getting married and all that will cure me. Unfortunately, it didn't happen. I felt many times that covering up or hiding or not acknowledging my attractions made me feel that I was living in denial. But I always felt really conflicted inside. It didn't affect my love for my wife or my attraction towards her. It was just more about coping with these attractions towards men and hoping that getting married will change it.
I don't really think about it in those terms that, oh, I'm LDS and my husband's SSA. He's still my husband. I don't really talk about it. Well, actually, I don't talk about it with anyone at church. But when discussions arise, when they talk about gay people or things that have happened this year, I think I have more tender feelings that maybe I wouldn't have had otherwise. So I feel like I could sympathize a little bit more, knowing my husband and what he goes through and how things affect him and his feelings. The members that are understanding and non-judgmental, that show love and support for people who are gay or experience same-sex attraction, that's the best thing they can do, is just not to judge. Because I think a lot of members that experience SSA already feel bad about those feelings. And making them feel worse isn't going to help them in any way.
So, I was a little surprised by this, though I'm not sure if I should have been, because we may have in like 2012 or 2013 or maybe even 2014 come across a story that said that the Mormon Church was starting to soften a little bit on the hardline stance on gay rights. But it did surprise me, and like I think the Mormon Church literally put this on their YouTube channel. And like, okay, no, seriously, here's 5 stories of gay Mormons. They're going to explain to you what they go through, and we should all be more understanding. So on the one hand, it's fantastic because what we're seeing here is a movement in a more progressive direction. We're seeing an attempt to have a much better interpretation of the religion, where people can be more liberal, more open-minded, more tolerant, while at the same time holding on to this part of their identity that over the years, for whatever reason, whether they were born into it or they came to it, has become who they are. You know, a lot of people define themselves through their religion. Okay, hey, I'm a Christian, I'm a Muslim, I'm a Mormon, whatever the case is. I'm Hindu, I'm Buddhist. So the thing is, they're letting us know, hey man, I can be a Christian and be a great person. I could be a Mormon and be a great person who cares about humanity and is loving. I could be part of any religion and really highlight positive aspects of humanity and try to be as liberal and open-minded and kind as possible and be non-judgmental. So that's the good side of this. That's the great side of this. And I do support that completely. But the other aspect of this, and the part that's a little frustrating, is at the same time, it's almost like they're trying to polish a turd. The turd being the religion. So that guy's talking about, oh my God, all these feelings, I feel horrible about who I am. And I'm thinking to myself, dude, the religion is what made you feel that in the first place. So it's almost like bragging about how you've been in an abusive relationship and now you've found a way to make the relationship better, but you still feel all this guilt and all this shame and all this terrible stuff about who you are because of the relationship that you're still in. So on the one hand, it's like, okay, I'm glad that you're happier and I'm glad that you're moving in a better direction in that relationship. But maybe the answer all along was just to leave that relationship, to not be in that relationship in the first place. Maybe the relationship in and of itself is the problem. And there's the conundrum. That's the conundrum of liberal open-minded religion, is that it's obviously way better and preferable to conservative fundamentalist religion, for sure. But it's almost like, come on, man, come on. The religion itself isn't true. So why are you wasting more time on it, even if you are doing the admirable thing of making it possible to be a more positive version of said faith? You know, and I think that's where somebody like me, who's not religious, gets stuck on it, is that I'm always like, you can take that last step, man. You're going to be all right. You're going to be all right if you just become non-religious and you just understand, hey, look, when you go to these different holy books, it's nonsense. Like, none of it is true. None of it's true. Okay, so, and that's something maybe it's not PC to say, or maybe, oh, you're offending me because I believe in this religion, that religion. That's nice. I don't care. Because I'm talking about what the reality is. You can't look at, the Bible and see, hey, there are parts where they allude to the earth being flat and go, oh, maybe there's something worthy in there. It just delegitimizes the entire book. It cannot be an infallible book. It can't, because that's wrong. They talk about 7-headed dragons. They don't exist. The list goes on and on. We talk about the things they ban. You're not allowed to shave. You're not allowed to wear a mix of 2 different fabrics. You're not allowed to eat shellfish. All these different things. So that's the case for the Bible. When it comes to Mormonism, Joseph Smith was a known con man. So, like, this idea of, like, well, we got to hold on to the religion and reform it. I'm happy that you're trying to make it better, because that in turn makes the world a better place. But wouldn't it be even better if you just said, let's totally leave behind these myths and these things that were written by fallible human beings who, let's face it, at a certain point, the different religions basically blew up into just big cults? I don't know. Maybe I'm being too hardline. Maybe I'm being too strident in my atheism and my irreligiosity. But it just strikes me that if you're a cognizant enough person to take the step to understand that secular humanist values are preferable to conservative fundamentalist values. So if you're smart enough to say, okay, to make the religion tenable, it's got to be more liberal. We got to be more open-minded. We got to care about people more. If you're smart enough to take that step, in my mind, I get stuck because I think, well, then aren't you smart enough to just go the one step further and say, you know what? Keep it real. All the religions are not true. They're just not accurate. They're just not right. They don't reflect reality. Joseph Smith wasn't a prophet. Muhammad wasn't a prophet. Jesus wasn't God. It is what it is. So I'm going to say that, and I'm sorry if I hurt your feelings when I say that, but if we really want to be good people, we got to do our best to make this life as good for as many people as possible. And that doesn't include, kowtowing to beliefs that aren't true because you want to bully me into kowtowing to them. No, that makes you the bad guy. If I say I don't accept your ideological, framework that is based on myths, well, that just makes me right. And in the process of saying I don't buy your bullshit, I also want to help you, and I want to help humanity out, and I want to, just be a good person and do the right thing for as many people as possible. So if you can't tell, obviously you can tell because I've been ranting about it for a while, I am conflicted on this. Because on the one hand, I want to pat these people on the back and say, you know what, good for you. You're now making it so that when people don't want to leave Mormonism and they're still Mormons, you're giving them an out and an alternative and a more benign, happy-go-lucky, tolerant Mormonism. I applaud that 100%. But then again, I also get stuck and I think, that's great, but that extra step is the correct step to just say, I'm going to leave the group and I'm going to, acknowledge that it doesn't represent something that's true, and we can just spend our time trying to make life better for people without holding on to the myths.